Thank you very much for this opportunity. Sorry to be late. We had zoning today, so I made record time of about 46 minutes to get all the way to Mesquite. And I didn't break the speed limit, so that's a good thing. Just wanted to take the opportunity. I know this is at the end of your program, and I appreciate you giving a few minutes to me so I could introduce myself. What I would tell you, I have been a friend of Mesquite for a very long time in the legislature. Worked with many of your representatives to make sure that your voice was heard in a big way so that you had the opportunity to grow and be successful and to have the services that you need. I'll start with last session. In particular, worked pretty hard on AB 151, which was the infrastructure for gas that I know she was here last month to talk to you about. That's critical to what you all need in order to have the infrastructure in place, and it's critical to the state as a whole. Secondly, I worked with Crescent Hardy at the time on the fuel indexing, and the reason that you have that lovely exit is because Crescent made it a priority to ensure that you got it, and we worked together and to make sure that it wasn't just the core urban areas that got the infrastructure, because we all need infrastructure. What I would say is infrastructure is super important to me. I met with a few of you when I first got on the job, and I want to remind folks I've only been on the job 85 days, and the only reason that I count is because, one, my husband asked me when I'm going to slow down, two, my kids want to know if I'm ever coming back, and then three, a lot of people say, but you haven't done this yet, and I have to remind folks that in less than 3 months we've done a lot, and District B as a whole. Let me just give you some boundaries so that you understand. I come all the way to Mesquite, which I am here today. Yesterday we were in Corn Creek because a road got paved at the Wildlife Refuge Center, so that was exciting. And just the week before we were at Nellis because that's in our district as well. And then we were at our Bob Price Senior Citizen Center, which is somewhere in between all of those places. And I represent North Las Vegas, which I live in every single day, so I get lots of calls. So as you can imagine, we're all over every day making sure that voices are heard. So we've been to Milwaukee Valley, Moapa, Bunkerville. I haven't been to Bunkerville yet officially, but I've been there. So we're really trying to make sure that everybody's voice is heard. So in Mesquite, some of the things that I'm already working on for all of you. First and foremost, I know that the gym is super important to everybody, so I've already submitted my letter to the school district to offer my support. It is not within my realm, but I know that it's very important to the kids here in the community, so that's why I wanted to give my letter of endorsement. What that's worth today, I have no idea, but I have to hope that it's worth a lot. And I want to see that the kids benefit and the community as a whole. Two, when I met with some of the council members and I met with a few of the economic development as well as some of your department heads, we talked about workforce. Workforce was a huge issue. So right away, I called my friends at the state, because I have some friends at the state, and I asked them, what can we do? Because CSN can just never serve that community well. And so we are working on putting in a pilot program at Great Basin, which is more like Mesquite. It's more rural in the area, and it can offer a lot of additional grants and services that maybe CSN cannot necessarily provide. And they all get the same curriculum, but those needs at Great Basin College, it's just as far away, but they can relate to what's going to make Mesquite work. Already been working on trying to streamline the permitting process. We are hiring a new outreach person in Moapa Valley, and which will serve this area, so it's a little bit different role than what they've had in the past. They will actually get in their car and come out to Mesquite and try and work with you folks so that we can expedite building permits and help you through the process a lot faster. Because what I would tell you is we're all one big happy family. We just live on different sides. And being a mom of 6 kids, 7 grandkids, 1 great-grandkid, and all of my kids, with the exception of 1, live within 5 minutes of me. I don't know how to change that because I don't want to move. But we all have different needs and wants, and really we have to make it easy for you to do your business. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I serve on the Southern Nevada Health District, where in the past, from a private citizen coming to work to just the private sector, I used to fight every day with the health district because I could never understand why they were so unreasonable. So I'm hoping to be reasonable on the health district, which I serve with one of your council members, so that we can bring some processes that are expedited. And legislatively, we made some changes that not everybody agreed with, but I believe for the community, for the business, they make sense. At some point, you're going to see that it's a streamlined process. Southern Nevada Water Authority, I know that's another big issue for all of you when we talk about water. So I'm serving on that. And listen, I didn't get on these committees because they wanted to give me something that no one else would go to. I had to beg my fellow commissioners to please let me serve on things because originally they had gave me NACO, which is the county board, which I love that. And by the way, I'm on the subcommittee for public lands, so we'll be having lots of discussions going forward. And I had Nellis, and that was it. And I said, listen, I quit a full-time job of 80 hours a week. I can't just sit around and do nothing. So I begged, borrowed, and pleaded, and they said, whatever, if it gets you out of our hair, you can have as many committees as you want. But I think that they're important to District B and Mesquite as a whole. So those are things that already, within a short time, that we're working on, trying to reach out to. I'm a big history buff. I think Nevada is amazing, has an amazing history, how we became a state and all the different portions of our state. And so I will always push the history so that people understand where we came from, where we are today, and how do we go forward. So you'll see things from me that include history. I think that it's great. You know, I found something on Friday, which I was a little shocked. At the county level, there's some dollars that they use for art programs. And one commissioner has used it. It's been sitting there since 2014, and I'm already spending 90% of that money within the community because I said, there's an opportunity for us to have it, whether it's art that we can put in the medians, whether it is art that the kids can do throughout our public buildings. There's lots of opportunity for us to do that. I'm a little more invested in Mesquite than most would realize. We have a place in Utah, so every other Sunday I stop in Mesquite and eat, and I can tell you last Sunday I ate at that great little new Central American restaurant on Pioneer just across from the Walmart. So I get to stop every other Sunday and think of a great place to eat. So if you want to give me some tips, my husband is great for trying new things. But most importantly, I wanted to come out today and just let you know that I'm a voice. I'm reasonable. I want to see good things come because we all matter and we all have different constituencies to represent. But the one thing we do have is a common voice. And we have the common constituents. We have a common opportunity to share ideas. We won't always agree. But on the things that we can agree on, we should make the communities work. And you know, for me, anytime that I can be a voice for you on anything that I serve, I'm happy to do that. Anytime that we can collaborate, I'm a big collaborator, uniter, not a divider, because having 5 daughters in one house, if we didn't unite, we might kill each other, I think. So 24 years of marriage later, all of the girls are doing well. And so what I would tell you is we have an opportunity here to do things different than we have in the past. I don't have a problem driving up and down the road. It doesn't bother me. I don't like to drive at night, but if you guys have things during the day, I'm happy to be out here as often, and at night, I just might have to stay at one of these fabulous hotels that you have. But just so that you know that we can work together, and it's a new day, and I think it's an opportunity for all of us to have great things. So I don't want to keep you long. I'll take a few questions, but I'll be around here. I'll be in the city. I have some meetings the rest of the day. Want to get the most out of it, but Lastly, I'll tell you my cell phone number is this, so everybody can write it down. It's on the website. It's published in the phone book. I am probably the easiest person to get at. I answer any and every phone. My cell phone number is 702-767-1315, and I give it to everybody in Nevada, and I return every single call myself. We have a great staff. Chris, who is not here today, but he is the person at the front desk. We have Janice, if you can stand up, Janice, who is our liaison. So she now lives closer out this way, so she's available. But we're a team. A team is three. Is not one. There's no I in team. There's none. And nobody in this room can do anything alone, but together we can do a whole bunch. So if you call my office and you ask all three of us, by the end of the conversation we'll know what's going on. Because in my book, there's no excuse. We're not giving you an answer in a short time frame. So we will work very hard to make that happen. So I'll go ahead and,
you supported Governor Sandoval's marginal tax.
I did.
And you have a deep reservoir of funding from major unions. How do you think unionization and the marginal tax will benefit Mesquite?
So are you asking me about my affiliation with the union? First and foremost, I'll disclose that my husband's a union plumber, and it's fed my family quite well for many years. And it's working wages, so I'm never going to feel bad about supporting working wages. On the margins tax, here's what I'll say. We all needed services within Nevada. There was no secret walking into the session that we were going to have a shortfall of $400 million. And let me tell you what was going to get cut first. Everything you care about in Mesquite. Because that was the easiest place to go in and cut in the rural areas. But we needed a long-term plan, because on the boom and bust cycle, every single time we have issues. So trying to find a tax that made sense. And here's what I would explain to folks. Nobody likes new taxes. I don't like new taxes, but we all got to pay them for the services that we want and hold folks accountable to the services. But the difference with the margins tax is this. All of those new retailers that you see, the fancy shops at the premium outlaw malls and all of them, let me just tell you the truth of what was going on. So they only paid $200 for all of their shops. So, and I don't like to call it in particular shops, so I'll just say ABC's shop had 10 places in Las Vegas, 20 places in, Clark County, 12 places in Washoe County. They paid $200. Period, dot, dash. That's all they paid. People don't realize that, right? They're the busiest Starbucks, he said it, it's not me, the busiest Starbucks, but they paid $200 for all of their locations within the state of Nevada. So we had to come up with something that made sense to have a level playing field, some parity, so that folks knew that everybody had to pay. Because a mom and pop, the little restaurant that I ate at last Sunday, they too had to pay that $200. They were paying the same amount as all of those big retailers. And that's where this it's called a commerce tax, not a margins tax. It's called a commerce tax because it's much different than the margins tax that was out there. And what I would say is we had to have a steady revenue source. It allows for growth. It allows for stability for the long term. In the short term, it's $60 million. It allows for incentive, I guess, to say if you hire employees, then you can write off your employees. It allows for health care benefits, all of those things that many of you are already providing. So I think that having a steady revenue source for the state of Nevada, and we got to remember the state of Nevada, is going to be beneficial for the long term. Whether folks agree or disagree, we had to do something. You guys had a mental health coordinator out here, Brad, and he was going to be cut right away and sent to Henderson. He lives here. He's invested in the community. I was able to call the state so that we could keep him here at least 1 day a week and work towards keeping him here on a full-time basis. But many of those positions, had we not passed a steady revenue source, would have definitely not benefited. And I want to remind folks that it's a $4 million threshold. That is a big threshold compared to where we were with all of the other conversations. Whether it's a popular answer or not, I will always tell the truth. So I will, because I think once folks understand, then it's a little bit easier. Any other things? Okay, well, you all know how to reach me. Please reach out. I like new ideas. I like to try things. We're working on some different ways to get you the infrastructure that you need out here. I think you have a lot of opportunities, especially in the sports world. That is big in Mesquite and has been for many years. So if I can ever be a resource, I'll be around, and I just want to help you thrive and be who you are. And you're unique, you're wonderful, and a lot of people can benefit with you coming. So thank you.